Back here on CBS Sports HQ, where another week brings us another fresh set of MLB Power Rankings, according to our own Matt Snyder. You can check out more on this list on CBSSports.com. September baseball is underway, and the Brewers remain at the top of the list, so no movement there. The Phillies also stay at 2. However, at 3, we see the Yankees, who jump into the top 5 after they went 4-2 in their first week of a 2-week gauntlet. We'll get to those Yankees in a minute, but let's begin with the Brewers as we say hello to Matt Snyder and Julian McWilliams for more. Matt, the separation is happening as the Brewers remain the top team in baseball.
Yeah, and I know they lost 2 of 3 at home to the Phillies, but they responded by sweeping the Pirates, and that might not sound like that big of a deal because they are the Pirates, but the Pirates just swept the Dodgers, which is a nice illustration to transition to what I wanted to talk about with the Brewers, and this is that if you had a team that was 5.5 games better than everybody else in baseball, that was on pace to win over 100 games, that had been playing like a 113-win team since late May, just trucking the rest of the conversation in terms of who the best team in baseball is, and it was the Dodgers or the Yankees, would anybody be saying, hey, there are no great teams this season? I keep hearing there are no great teams. No, there's one. There's one great team, and it's the Milwaukee Brewers. And you got Jacob Mizrachi back on track against the Pirates. You got Brandon Woodruff back on track. It looks like they could have 3 frontline starters along with every other aspect of their well-rounded baseball team. They're still the best team, and it's not really all that close.
Yeah, Jordan, I keep saying this, but they do all the little things right? Like they put the ball in play. They play defense. They hit and run. They do all the little things that you look for in a team. You go to their minor league system, and they're teaching these guys to win baseball games, right? They don't necessarily teach that in the minor leagues anymore, right? It's all about exit velocity, how hard you throw, and individual play. Well, in their minor league system, it's a bit different because it's saying, no, let's actually go out there and win games. And then you come up to the big league level, and I think you just see it with their entire staff, with their entire position players. They've been playing really good baseball the entire year. And my goodness, I mean, their manager, he should be probably in the Manager of the Year award because he's taken this team to another level. I did not think Pat Murphy would be able to translate to the big leagues. He certainly proved me wrong, and he's had a great team around him.
Let's go ahead and get to those Yankees who make a significant jump back in the top 3 after their series win over the Blue Jays. Now lurking 2 games back in the AL East. Matt, a massive stretch, though, ahead for these Yankees against Detroit and Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. And while I just said there, people like to say, oh, there's no great teams. Well, there's no great American League teams. I think it's funny that having the Yankees 3rd, you could talk to a pretty large subsection of Yankees fans and say, hey, are they the 3rd best team in baseball? And they'd go, oh, not even close. We're not the 3rd best team. Well, who are you going to put 3rd, though? They just beat the Blue Jays in a series. They've been better than the Blue Jays for, the last six weeks or so. The Yankees have won 18 of the last 25 with a plus 59 run differential. They just won 2 of 3 in Houston. They took 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays at home, and everybody knows about Aaron Judge in the lineup, and to a lesser extent, Giancarlo Stanton. But how about Trent Grisham with 30 home runs? Jazz Chisholm's he's going to probably be a 30-30 guy. He's close in both home runs and stolen bases. It's getting to the point that they're a well-rounded team. I know that they still have bullpen issues, but the personnel out there is good enough that they can figure it out. And really, at this point, there aren't many teams that don't have bullpen issues. So I think the Yankees are the best team in the American League right now. Even if it's by default, they are the best team in the American League.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is that they got Max Fried back on track. I think that was huge with them. I mean, you go back to the 2nd or 3rd inning yesterday when it just looked like it could just fall apart for him, and it didn't. He was able to hold them there. I think Anthony Volpe made another error, right? So that's a situation that they have to figure out, and they haven't been able to figure out a shortstop. But I think if you're looking at this team from Cam Schlittler to Carlos Rodon to Luis Hill, looked really good the other day. Well, the one thing the Yankees do is that they pitch, and I think you're seeing it now in the latter part of the season when other rotations sort of wane. The Yankees are stepping up, and I think if you're looking at this team, like Matt mentioned, Giancarlo Stanton, obviously Aaron Judge, they're going to have to figure out that right field situation. That's what concerns me most because in the postseason, even in the regular season, teams have been taking the extra bag, be it Giancarlo Stanton out there or Aaron Judge because they know he can't throw. So that's what I'm sort of looking for as the season gets to the last, as we get to the end here and then to the postseason.
I want to work our way further down the rankings here, and I want to point out the Dodgers at 7, the Padres here at 11. 2 teams really limping to the finish line of this NL West race. Julian, who do you trust more?
The Dodgers, because the Dodgers are the Dodgers, right? Until I see with my own eyes, I can't just sort of give up on a champion, right? I've seen so many times where I've thought the Padres were going to catch the Dodgers or beat the Dodgers, and they don't. Where I think the Padres are going to win a series, and they don't. I think having Shohei Ohtani and even Mookie Betts there, I know he's not having the greatest season, but those guys, again, they're champions. It matters. I know they're not having the best season. I personally don't think they will win the World Series. But if I had to put my money on anybody, it's going on the Dodgers.
Yeah, I agree. You have to trust the Dodgers more than the Padres. Look, the Padres have won 2 in a row, but that was in Coors Field against the Rockies. They had lost 9 of 11 before that. They lack power. They just don't hit home runs. The rotation is very inconsistent as well. Now, versus Reds, versus Rockies this week, it's workable for the Padres, and they're only a game back, and the Dodgers have not been setting the world on fire. And I keep going back to this, but remember in the offseason, we kept hearing that the game is unfair, the game is broken, the Dodgers are too good. They're 23-32 since July 3rd. Their sample of being mediocre this season is a lot bigger than their sample of being elite or even great. So I don't know if they're just kind of treading water until they get to the playoffs, and then they're going to kick it into gear in the playoffs. But they have not been great very often this season, not since that 8-0 start.
Lastly, let's look outside the top 10 here. At 12, we have the Rangers, just a game and a half back of the Mariners for that final AL wildcard spot. How much confidence, Matt, do you have in them, though, knowing the slew of names on this injured list?
Yeah, I was going to say not very much confidence because to continue to get it done with Nathan Eovaldi out for the season, Marcus Semien, now Adolis Garcia, Corey Seager had the appendectomy. They have a tough upcoming schedule as well. They play the Brewers and then they go on the road to the Mets and Astros. Can Jacob deGrom continue to carry this big of a workload when he hasn't in so many years with all those injuries? Merrill Kelly, can he hold up? Tyler Mahle, how is he going to be when he comes off the injured list? But if they get to the playoffs and they get all those offensive players healthy, they could be very dangerous because Bruce Bochy has superpowers in the postseason. I don't think they're going to get there, but if they do, they would be dangerous.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at this team in its totality, they're broken, right? And I think if you're looking at the Mariners, that's a team that should be really, really good. They have not been playing really well, but the Mariners should be really good. I think if you're looking at the Texas Rangers, you're just sort of reeling toward the end, right? And I think if when you see this team, they don't necessarily look like a postseason team to me. Again, I know they have the pedigree, they have the winners, but those winners are out, right? They're not in the postseason. Nathan Eovaldi, that's probably one of the better postseason pitchers that I have seen that I have ever covered. I remember him in Boston. He was that elite in Boston. It just seemed that he's just flipped a switch. They don't have that Nathan Eovaldi switch this year, and I just think ultimately the Mariners have too much talent to give this up.
All right, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Another week, fresh set of MLB Power Rankings. You can check out the full list and more over on CBSSports.com. The top 2 teams, according to our own Matt Snyder, in our Power Rankings, the Phillies and the Brewers, both in action tonight. As you take a look at some of the notable MLB games going on later today, the Phillies will host the Mets, the Brewers on the road taking on those Rangers.